Welcome to TechSurge News, where we bring you the latest in the world of science and technology. In this video, join us as we explore futuristic and groundbreaking tech that'll definitely knock your socks off.
The art of storing and generating solar and wind energy has been around for a few decades now. And with each new invention in these fields, more people will benefit. Prototypes are being created and worked on, with scientists devising more efficient methods to generate electricity. However, scientists continue to face a problem. Even as they continue to develop more efficient and cost-effective methods of generating electricity, it has been a challenge to find ways to store this energy. And in order for this type of renewable energy to have a major impact, there must be a way to store it so that it can be accessed at any time and from any location. And now, some MIT researchers may have developed a breakthrough solar cell that can help solve this problem. What's more, it does not run on sunlight. This groundbreaking solar cell is a new method of generating electricity from any source of heat, and it is more than just a cell that generates electricity. It can also store energy and convert it back to electricity when needed. What exactly is this game-changing technology? How does it work? And how effective is it at storing energy for later use? Join us as we investigate the revolutionary solar cell that does not require sunlight to function. We can generate energy from a variety of heat sources, including nuclear energy, natural gas, coal, and concentrated solar energy. The mechanisms used to generate power from these sources can be complicated to maintain. However, the challenge in operating this machinery is not the only issue. These energy sources have been the primary source of electricity all over the world, supplying 90% of the world's electricity. Steam turbines are being used by technologists to continue retrieving energy from these sources. But here's the harsh reality. For a variety of reasons, the steam turbine method has not been operationally effective. The steam turbine runs at 35% efficiency on average, with the highest efficiency recorded on a turbine's operation. This decrease is due to the extreme heat conditions under which the turbines operate. The turbines can only operate in temperatures of 1500 degrees, and anything above causes the machinery to fail, wasting vast amounts of heat energy. This cost compelled many researchers to continue looking for a solution to the energy conservation problem: heat engines that can operate successfully in extreme temperatures. This is where thermophotovoltaics enters the picture. Thermophotovoltaics, or TPVS, are similar to conventional solar cells. They are solar-powered heat engines that generate electricity from thermal radiation. This breakthrough was made by MIT researchers led by Ashigun Henry, an associate professor of mechanical engineering, who is also involved in the collaboration with the National Renewable Energy Laboratory. The TPVS's primary goal is to absorb and transform the solar radiation spectrum to a narrow-band thermal emission spectrum that corresponds to the spectral response of a photovoltaic cell. They are renowned and influential due to their lack of moving parts and high power capacity. When compared to steam turbines, they allow for the storage of solar energy with usable alternative fuels for continuous power generation and dispatchability. The primary goal of the solar TPVS is to reduce the heat loss from the hot absorber while also making the emitter function efficiently at higher temperatures so that the photons expelled have enough energy. Still, on the bright side, we should classify them as two breakthroughs rather than one. The first breakthrough is an all-encompassing method of conserving renewable energy. This method begins by directing a large amount of wind into a semiconducting material. A tin is an excellent example. The tin is heated to temperatures well above 2000 degrees. For starters, The tin would melt due to the extremely high temperature. This molten tin is then pumped into a closed-loop circuit of carbon composite pipes, which lead into an insulated and enclosed building filled with massive graphite blocks. The room in which this process takes place is filled with argon gas, which helps to keep the room chemically inactive. Heat can stay in graphite for a long time after it is injected into it. Because of its layers of free electrons and carbon atoms, it is an excellent conductor of heat. Professor Henry also made a comment about graphite, stating that the rate at which heat manages to escape from the block equals its surface area. Simultaneously, the amount of energy that can be stored is proportional to their mass. This means that the surface area increases as the size of the object decreases. This is also why, for example, a cup of tea cools faster than the Atlantic Ocean. Simply stated, larger objects with lower surface area to volume ratio. The graphite block size is described as this covered area roughly half the size of a football field in the United States. This then implies that it would take months for the graphite blocks alone to cool down, making it an ideal means of storing thermal energy.
Let's take a short break real quick. If you're enjoying the video so far, then why don't you give us a comment down below, because we at TechSurge News would love to hear what you think. Also, it would be greatly appreciated if you subscribe to TechSurge News while you're down there. On to the video.
The second breakthrough involves thermophotovoltaic cells. TPV cells are used to generate electricity. It is done in the production of electricity by TPV through the following steps. Whenever the grid requires power, the heat is transferred from graphite blocks to a second building that contains a series of hollow, large, rectangular carbon-based chambers filled with tungsten foil. Tungsten foil is utilized in this process because it diffuses protons over a wide range of wavelengths from high ultraviolet energy to far infrared low points. Putting it generates enough light for the TPV cells to absorb and convert into electricity. When the heat is transferred directly, the tungsten foil glows in full white heat, similar to the string in an incandescent light bulb. Based on the amount of electricity acquired by the grid, these TPV cells are then placed in a chamber known as the power block. These cells in the power block can be raised and lowered at the same time, increasing or decreasing exposure to the light emitted by the hot and glowing tungsten foil. Although TPV cells are similar to the regular solar cells we have on our roofs, they have substantial differences, such as the material from which they are made. Silicon is used in traditional solar cells. They are tuned to have a specific band gap that controls the wavelength of light that comes into contact with it. This is in order to shift its electrons out of their space and into the electrical circuit. Every TPV photovoltaic cell is programmed to capture photons at close range. As a result, light at higher and lower frequencies are always discarded. Instead of silicon, the MIT team chose gallium arsenide, a material that the National Aeronautics and Space Administration uses in conjunction with solar panels in space. Because of its higher absorption coefficient, gallium arsenide can absorb more energy from solar radiation. Simply put, instead of the sun, this material can derive energy from the light emitted by the glowing tungsten foil. There are also differences between TPV cells and traditional solar cells. Single junction cells make up the traditional solar cells you have at home. In other words, they have two semiconductors for their p-n junction. Single junction cells are also known to have problems with reliability, also known as the Shockley-Queisser limit. The total efficiency of solar cells is based on the detailed principle. The maximum efficiency for a single junction cell is 33.7%, but not in the case of TPV cells. To avoid lower efficiency, TPV cells employ a number of gap junctions. Henry's team made certain that it was at its peak. The team used more than a dozen layers of various semiconductors to create two separate cells stacked on top of each other. Each layer is wired with a slightly different band gap to extract a broader range of light spectrum. These cells can withstand the heat because they are formed on four sides of a heat sink. A block of metals containing water lines as they flow through the water draws heat from the cells. This stage's basic principle is that it moves quickly enough so that it stays in liquid form instead of turning into steam. This technology still emitted light, but Henry and his team would not permit it. They placed a reflective mirror in there to capture the escape lights, causing the lights to bounce back to the tungsten foil before trying to run its core soul over again. This process is amazing because it not only manages light waste, but also helps boost voltage as the light is transferred back into the tungsten foil. This process provided Henry and his team with leverage because they achieved 98% reflectivity. In addition to overall efficiency, this feat saved an additional 10%. When it comes to efficiency, the TPV cells have an impressive overall efficiency of well over 50%. If the cells achieve 50% efficiency, a 1 square meter cell would be capable of producing around 100 kilowatts. So a 30 by 13 module arrangement of approximately 900 square feet would have an overall capacity of nearly 100 megawatts. In addition, the graphite blocks can store enough heat for the cells to continue generating power for nearly 10 hours. Let's put this in context. If 100 megawatts per hour can be sustained for 10 hours, it can power hundreds of homes. In addition, unlike steam turbines, which can have complicated moving parts, TPV cells can deliver energy as needed. They function similarly to traditional solar cells found in our homes, making them more suitable for grid-scale applications. TPV cells would be present shortly and effectively working in power plants or smelters to improve efficiency and collect the heat emitted by these industries.
Thank you for staying around till the end of the video. To keep on hearing from us, feel free to subscribe down below and hit the bell button to get the latest notifications. TechSurge News signing out.